Good evening, you're watching the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. First, the headlines. Sultanate and the United Kingdom agreed to conclude a joint defense agreement related to defensive and training commitment that serves their mutual interest. Commanders of the joint military exercises Saif al-Saria praised the high efficiency shown by the participants in Shimukh 2 and Saif al-Saria 3 exercises. And the Sultanate welcomes the U.S. call for a ceasefire in Yemen. Good evening once again, and thank you for joining us. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Qaboos sent a cabal of greetings to His Excellency President Charles Angelo Savarin of the Commonwealth of Dominica on his country's independence anniversary. His Majesty the Sultan has also sent a cabal of greetings to His Excellency President Juan Carlos Varela of Panama on his country's National Day. The Sultanate and the United Kingdom agreed to conclude a joint defense agreement between the two friendly countries related to defensive and training commitment that serves their mutual interest. This came in a statement followed by an official session of talks today in the Minister of Defense in Beit al-Falaj camp between His Excellency Sayyid Badr bin Saud bin Harb al-Busaidi, Minister responsible for Defense Affairs, and His Excellency Gavin Williamson, British Defense Secretary. During the sessions, they reviewed the existing military cooperation between the two friendly countries and ways to enhance it, as well as they discussed matters of common concern. The visit by His Excellency the British Defense Secretary is to attend the concluding ceremony of Shimukh 2 and Saif al-Saria 3 military exercises. The British Defense Secretary praised the proficiency of implementing the training between the armed forces of the two friendly countries as it contributed in exchanging experiences successfully, and stressed the ongoing work to enhance the military cooperation between both countries. Lieutenant General Ahmed bin Harith al-Nabhani, Chief of Staff of Sultan's Armed Forces, received Sir Nicholas Patrick Carter, Chief of British Defence Staff, who is currently visiting the Sultanate to attend the concluding ceremony of Shimukh 2 and Saif al-Saria 3 military exercises. During the meeting, they reviewed a number of matters of common concern, military field, as well as exchanged points of views. The meeting was attended by a number of senior officers from both sides. Major General Matar bin Salim al-Balushi, Commander of the Royal Army of Oman, received General Mark Carlton, Chief of General British Staff, and his accompanying delegation. During the meeting, they exchanged points of views and discussed a number of matters of joint military concern, especially the concluding ceremony of the joint military exercise, which is to be held tomorrow, Saturday. Air Vice Marshal Matar bin Ali Al-Ubaidani, Commander of the Royal Air Force of Oman, Air Chief Marshal Stephen Hillier, Chief of Staff of the Royal British Air Force. The meeting focused on points of views and a number of joint matters related to Air Force of both countries. Meanwhile, Rear Admiral Abdullah bin Khamis al-Risi, Commander of the Royal Navy of Oman, met Admiral Sir Philip Jones, First Sea Lord and Chief of Staff of British Naval Staff. They reviewed various matters related to cooperation in naval field and exchanged points of views regarding the joint exercise Saif al-Saria 3. Military leaders from the Sultanate Armed Forces applauded the high performance and the combating efficiency of the Sultan's armed forces and other participating civil and security agencies during the national exercise Shimukh 2 and the joint military maneuvers with the UK Forces Swift Sword 3. The Omani and UK military leaders who were briefed on the accomplished tasks and goals during the joint operations expressed their content and satisfaction as the forces from both sides performed exceptionally during mock battles. The Chief of Staff of Gulf Cooperation Council countries' armed forces arrived in the Sultanate today as follows. Lieutenant General Hamad Mohammed Al-Rumaythi, Chief of Staff of Armed Forces in the United Arab Emirates, Major General Sheikh Ali bin Rashid Al Khalifa, Assistant Chief of Staff of Bahrain Defense Force, His Excellency General Fayyad bin Hamid Al-Ruwaili, Chairman of General Staff of Armed Forces in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Lieutenant General Ghanem bin Shaheen Al-Ghanem, Chief of General Staff of Armed Forces in the State of Qatar, and Lieutenant General Mohammed Khalid Al-Khadr, Chief of General Staff of Armed Forces in the State of Kuwait. Their visit came within the framework to participate in the concluding ceremony of Ashimokh 2 and Saif al-Sari 3 military exercises. Upon arrival at the Sib Air Base, they were received by Lieutenant General Ahmed bin Harith al-Nabhani, Chief of Staff of the Sultan's Armed Forces, and a number of senior officers and military attaches. The Sultanate has welcomed the U.S. call for a ceasefire in Yemen. The Sultanate affirms that dialogue is the best way to dissolve disputes and install peace and stability in Yemen. It also expressed its support for the efforts led by the United Nations to reach a peaceful settlement for the conflict in Yemen. Still to come in our news bulletin. An arts exhibition on a variety of contemporary and 3D artworks of 6 Omani artists is held in Muscat. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. A video released Friday showed joint Turkish and U.S. troops patrolling areas around the northern Syrian town of Manbij, part of roadmap for easing tensions between the two NATO allies. Turkey's Defense Minister Hulusi Akar said the patrols began at 3:53 p.m. local time yesterday, but did not provide further details. Ankara and Washington agreed on a roadmap in June amid Turkish demands for the withdrawal of the U.S.-backed Kurdish militia that freed Manbij from the Daesh group in 2016. New details about the crashed Lion Air jet's previous flight cast more doubt on the Indonesian airlines' claim to have fixed technical problems as hundreds of personnel searched the sea for a 5th day today for victims and the plane's fuselage. The brand new Boeing 737 MAX 8 plane plunged into the Java Sea early Monday, just minutes after taking off from the Indonesian capital, Jakarta, killing all 189 people on board. Head of the Bali Nusa Tenggara Airport Authority said the pilot on the plane's previous flight on Sunday from Bali requested to return to the airport not long after takeoff, but then reported the problem had been resolved. Several passengers have described the problem as a terrifying loss of altitude. Lion Air, a budget carrier that is the biggest domestic airline in Indonesia, has said the unspecified problem was fixed after Sunday's flight, but the fatal flight's pilot also made a return to base request not long after takeoff. And now with local news here, to promote a culture of entrepreneurship and creative thinking in the field of information and communications technology, SAS 48 Hours Garage was organized, attracting young Omani talents to compete and display their innovative projects. The concept of the SAS or SAS Garage is to link market specialists, ICT developers and entrepreneurs and assign them to various projects such as smartphone or internet-based open source applications that targets various fields like tourism and logistics. The competition also aims at creating a platform to gather talent, freelancers and project holders in an attempt to promote for collaborative projects. Petroleum Development Oman PDO organized its fourth Majlis in Muscat focusing on energy efficiency. The event was presided over by His Excellency Engineer Salim bin Nasser Al Aufi and the Secretary of the Ministry of Oil and Gas. More details in the following report by Saleh bin Khalfan Al Rahbi.
Under the theme Energy Efficiency, Challenges and Aspirations, Petroleum Development Oman PDO held its fourth Majlis, focusing on reducing power consumption to ensure greater sustainability.
It seems to me, as an outside expert, obvious that there's a need to solve issues of energy efficiency here. There's an abundance of energy in this area. Oil and gas, obviously, but also it seems there's an abundance of solar power and other forms of renewable energy that can be utilized in the energy sector. I think there's a huge opportunity for the countries in the region to address the issue of energy efficiency and to also implement some renewable energy in their energy sectors.
Majlis will talk about the energy efficiency as a whole chain, talking about the supply, where there will be renewable energy utilization as much as we can. Also the demand side management, wherever we can implement the energy efficiency, wherever we can apply it. In PDO, we are very active and we are pioneers wherever we can apply the energy efficiency as well as the renewable energy resources utilization.
The wide-ranging dialogue covered the integral role of energy efficiency as good business in terms of reducing costs and in the nation's energy transition from a reliance on fossil fuels to a greater use of renewables such as solar and wind.
Oman is bestowed with an abundance of solar and renewable energies. You could see from the abundance of sun that's shining on Oman, on all the lands. In PDO, we've done a great study just to see the unconstrained potential of what Oman can do and produce. And we've came about with 3 buckets. We call them buckets. The first one was to produce electricity, and the second one was to really focus on the power to X, which is to support all the industrial processes. And the third one is what new industries that we can bring to Oman and that they can use the renewables to power up their facilities and services.
More than 120 people attended the event to discuss the emerging technical and strategic challenges in energy efficiency and demand management, as well as the latest developments and possible opportunities. For the Sultanate of Oman Television, Saleh bin Khalfan Al Rahbi, Muscat.
Thank you, Saleh. Under the theme Visual Manifestations, the arts exhibition was held under the patronage of His Excellency Fuad bin Ja'far al-Sajwani, Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries Wealth. The exhibition, which will last until the mid of November, contains a variety of contemporary and 3D arts works for 6 Omani fine artists and offers an opportunity for the audience and arts enthusiasts to interact with the arts community. And now for the general weather forecast around the Sultanate. Clear skies will prevail over the most of the governorates with chances of low clouds and fog late at night and early morning. Over the coasts of the Arabian Sea, winds will be northeasterly to south light to moderate. Seas will be slight to moderate with a maximum wave height of 1.5 meters. More details on your screen. You're watching the Sultanate of Oman television, and before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. The Sultanate and the United Kingdom agreed to conclude a joint defense agreement related to defensive and training commitment that serves their mutual interests. Commanders of the joint military exercise as Saif al-Sarri praised the high efficiency shown by the participants in Ash-Shamouk 2 and Saif al-Sarri 3 exercises. And the Sultanate welcomes the U.S. call for a ceasefire in Yemen. And with that, we do conclude this news bulletin brought to you live from this news center of the Sultanate of Oman television. From the entire news team and myself, we do thank you for joining us, wish you a pleasant evening and good night.